to celebrate that we have Nina Grae here today. Yay! Good morning. Welcome to Speakeasy Sunday morning. We have such a treat for you. We have a new musician to this community, and her name is Nina Grae, and she is a California native, a singer, songwriter, producer, and a creative group facilitator using music and multimedia works to honor the spirit of love in all its forms. She has opened such spiritual teachers as Reverend Michael Beckwith, Marianne Williamson, the poet in Q, and for the conservationist Jane Goodall. She has over 150 original music videos in her digital medicinal music cabinet. I love that. Music as medicine. And she's working on her fourth studio release to be released this fall. Please give a warm welcome to Nina Grae.
Thank you so much. So grateful to be with this community. This first song on this day is a song called Bloom. Come lay down your burden. Oh, come lay down the weight. Let go of all demons right here where it's safe. Let go of what should have been and what could be and what is not. Loosen your grip on tomorrow and find peace with what you got. 'Cause you got the whole world. You got the whole world. You got the whole world inside you, just waiting to bloom. Let the salt heal your skin. Bless your mother and your father for the body that you're walking in. Feel the light through the window. Feel the heartbeat of the trees. So many places that pretty mind wanders, but time, it stops when you breathe. Take a deep breath with me. And releasing and knowing you got that whole world. You got that whole world. You got that whole world inside you, just waiting to bloom. eternal spring, forever summer, infinite fall is calling out for your song, eternal spring, forever summer, infinite fall is calling out for your song, your song, your song. Thank you.
I just wanted to share with you a little bit about Beth Gordon because she doesn't know how to write her own bio. That's how humble she is. She's like, who does though? That's like a terrible piece of writing to write. It's so hard to talk about yourself. I feel like I am busting with joy right now because of her ability to step into leadership. There's something incredible about running yourself home when you hit a home run and you run yourself home. There's something even more audacious and incredible about watching somebody else run home. You know, like one of those people on the side who are like, God, you got this. So I feel like that. I feel like that kind of joy in my bones right now. So Beth Gordon, on the black and white, she is a physical therapist, yoga instructor, life coach, spiritual practitioner, founder of Bella Mind, Body, Spirit. She's also a facilitator of the Maiden Voyage with me, along with 7 Keys to the Kingdom. She is fondly referred to in our community as the prayer ninja. And I told her on the phone the other day that she is everyone's wet dream and best friend. So that about says it all. I fell in love with this woman 10 years ago when I first heard her stand and sing in the class that I was helping facilitate. And at the time, she had a bit of a pre-ramble explaining all that went into her being able to step into and through her resistance to stand in this class and sing. And what I have loved watching about her in the last 10 years is that she has ceased to explain herself. What I've loved watching in the last 10 years is that she's just singing and her life is singing. She got out of her own way. And I think that she could probably say that about me as well. We kind of help each other get out of our own way. The only person in our way is us anyhow. So the other thing I love about this lady, this friend, this magnificent teacher is that she's funny and fearless. She's the type of woman that will help you harvest an 18-pound mushroom in the woods and then Google how to feed yourself and the entire community of a small island. Like that's who she is. And I know that her river runs so deep. And so I'm just grateful that she's taken the pulpit today. And I invite you to settle down and to listen up and to allow the divine wisdom that flows through her to bless you this morning, as I know it will. And I'll pass this to my dear friend, Beth.
Wow. Thank you. I love that. And my heart feels the same way about you, beloved Maureen. I mean, and yes, it was actually 18.5 pounds, that mushroom. So let's just settle in here today. The title of today's talk is The Nature of True Prosperity. And where I want to begin is many years ago, I took a prosperity class. It was at Bodhi Spiritual Center. And I would use a mala, which all malas have 108 beads on it, and say the phrase, I am prosperous, over and over and over. I am prosperous. I am prosperous. I am prosperous. And eventually I would start singing it and I would start dancing it. I am prosperous. I am prosperous. I am prosperous. I am prosperous, and so on and so forth, 108 times every morning, every evening, day in, day out for all the weeks. I think it was 12 weeks of the class. And I felt better. Initially, it felt kind of silly, but there was something to it. I mean, just by saying that affirmation, something was happening. But does just saying that over and over really make you prosperous? Well, let's take a look at this. What is true prosperity? I mean, when you think about prosperity, what do you think about? Is it millions of dollars in the bank and lots of investments with big returns? Is it being able to pay all your bills effortlessly, or just not worry about money at all? Or maybe it's like spending money freely without a care in the world. Most people do think of money when they think of prosperity, an abundance of money, lots of money. But is prosperity really just about money? I mean, we know people that have lots of money and they're not necessarily happy. Actually, some of them might even be miserable. And Ralph Waldo Trine writes in his book, In Tune with the Infinite, what profit can there be for the man who, material speaking, though he has gained the whole world, has never yet become acquainted with his soul? He calls these men poor indeed, pitiably poor, actually destitute. Think Ebenezer Scrooge from A Christmas Carol before he woke up, or Mr. Potter from A Wonderful Life. Do you know anyone like this? Do you experience them as prosperous? Do you even want to be around them? Not likely. So there definitely is more to prosperity than just money. In spiritual economics, the first book I actually really read cover to cover on prosperity by Eric Butterworth, he explains in the introduction that the word prosperity comes from the Latin root, which literally translates according to hope, or to go forward hopefully. Thus, it's not so much a condition in life as it is an attitude toward life. In the broadest sense, prosperity is spiritual well-being. He goes on to say that it is consciousness that sets all limits in life, and really, there are no limits. We've been erroneously conditioned to believe that our lives are completely shaped by what happens around us and to us. But you see, life is lived from within out. It's not what happens out there, but what we do or think about what happens out there. It's about our attitude, our consciousness. Form follows consciousness. And I know you've heard Maureen say that many, many times. Well, what does that mean? On the most simplistic level, I mean, that means that our mindset, that we do anything in, impacts and reflects the nature of our experience, the outcome, and actually it impacts the physical form. I know I can wash dishes and I can feel burdened by the time and energy that it takes to get that done. Or I can be in love and gratitude for the food that I ate and that I have dishes, and I could be in love and gratitude for the company I shared that meal with. And it is a completely different experience depending on my attitude and my mindset. Butterworth goes on to say that the starting point in realizing prosperity is to accept responsibility for your own thoughts, thus taking charge of your life. So the first step in the realization of prosperity is to become aware of your own consciousness, your own mindset, and notice, is it aligned with abundance and prosperity? Or is it aligned with fear, with scarcity, lack, or limitation? Well, how do you know? How do you know if your mindset is of scarcity? Well, if you're feeling angry and frustrated much of the time, or you're in a state of reactivity to the conditions surrounding you, or you feel resentment, or you feel powerlessness or hopeless, these are very clear indications that you are in a scarcity mindset. And it's time to get to work, because this can be shifted. But it won't happen until you do that internal work. In a prosperity mindset, there is a sense of limitlessness, freedom, resourcefulness. Love is unencumbered by the conditions of the world. And to move from a scarcity mindset to a prosperous mindset, we have to turn away from conditions and place our faith in our source. From the Abundance book by John Randolph Price, he talks about the master spirit within, the source of all. This prosperity consciousness, the realization of God as the source of all good, this is our true identity. He then goes on to quote from the Gospel of Thomas that when you know your true identity, you'll realize that you are one with the living Father. But if you will not know yourself, then you dwell in poverty. And it is you that are that poverty. So when we recognize this divine idea, I am prosperous. I'm actually prosperity itself. And when I don't, then that's poverty. Karen Drucker sings a beautiful song about this. And it goes like this. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. So it's really about this relationship with the divine. Ralph Waldo Trine calls it the spirit of infinite plenty. He who lives in the realization of his oneness with this infinite power becomes a magnet to attract to himself continual supply of whatsoever he desires. Wow. So it's the realization that our good is, it does not come from out there or that stuff. It comes from the quality of our relationship with the divine, the infinite, with God, with love. And this is a very personal relationship. And our prosperity is all about our faith in it. In A Course in Miracles, there's a lesson 40. It says, I am blessed as a son of God. I'm blessed as a child of God. So just by being a child of God, I'm blessed. It goes on to say that I cannot suffer any loss or deprivation or pain because of who I am. My Father supports me, protects me, and directs me in all things. His care for me is infinite, and it is with me forever. I am eternally blessed as his child. So let's get this right. Can you imagine walking around really deeply believing, knowing, and having a complete faith that we are infinitely cared for, that we are supported, protected, directed at all times by the infinite love and intelligence of God? Can you feel the trust and the faith in this attitude? This is what it is to live in oneness and remember God's love and God's light that is limitless. It is this state of mind. There is no sense of loss, no fear, no doubt, no worry, no lack, no limitation ever. There's just a deep knowing I am lavishly sourced and supplied always, and all my needs are already met. This is the mindset of true prosperity on the personal level. We all spend time in scarcity thinking, but when we remember this truth, it seems almost silly to dwell there. When we remember this truth, it seems almost silly to dwell in scarcity for any length of time. And when we're in a prosperity mindset, we want to stay there, and we don't want to let the world and all of its shifts and changes get to us, so we can remain in this state of limitlessness, this blissful state that is our natural state. It is our inheritance. So take a moment and answer this question. Mary asked it at the beginning. What makes you feel prosperous? What makes you feel that limitless nature? Many years ago, I used to do canning. I canned all kinds of things. And I gave my mother several jars of canned tomatoes. And she said, "Oh, I feel so prosperous. I feel so rich, so wealthy." And I was like, "From tomatoes?" And she said, "Yes, but not just any tomatoes. These are home canned tomatoes that you gave me." And she hugged them to her chest like a baby. And maybe she felt the love in which all of that was done. But really, she could have had any mindset. She could have been like, "Okay, thanks." But her mindset was so prosperous that she felt blissful from tomatoes. So, what does it for you? Is it a sunset, closing the deal, a hug, jumping with a parachute out of a plane? Just take a minute here and get acquainted with what sparks your personal sense of prosperity. What connects you to this limitless nature of life, to the infinite possibilities that are always here? So we can take responsibility for our personal experience of prosperity by waking up to our own mindset, consciously remembering we're sourced and supplied by a God of infinite love, and then walking ourselves back to that mindset and coming back to a place of peace and power when we've forgotten it for a moment and had a moment of fear or lack. And we need to do this over and over all day long until our faith is strong. And even when our faith is strong, we just need to keep remembering this truth. In this mindset that remembers our oneness, I am lavishly sourced and supplied in every way, and all my needs are already met. See, now infinite possibilities are accessible. They're always here, but this mindset gives us access to it. And this is how we bless ourselves. And when we separate from our oneness, our limitless nature, it's kind of like shooting ourselves in the foot. I mean, we are the ones that get hurt by it. And as we remember it, we not only bless ourselves, we become a blessing to all others. So this is personal prosperity. This is what it is to have a sense of personal prosperity, to remember this truth. So one of my first and favorite teachers on prosperity is Edwene Gaines, and she wrote the book, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. And she gives her own definition of prosperity. And she says prosperity is a vitally alive physical body to provide a comfortable worldly home for the spiritual beings that we are, relationships that are satisfying, nurturing, honest, and work all the time, work that we love so much that it's not work, it's play, and all the money we can spend. So again, it's not just about money, it's about health, about happy, healthy relationships, fulfilling work, and also money. And she lays out 4 spiritual laws that govern being able to access this state of prosperity. 1, you must tithe 10% of all that you receive to the person, place, or institution where you received your spiritual food. And by doing so, you're putting God first. You're remembering your true source in your finances. This is a dynamic act of courage. And when you do so, your faith and your ability to stretch yourself and to move forward, to expand your vision of yourself and your life, it increases 100-fold. So you're doing this, you're strengthening your faith and gaining more confidence and trust through this act of tithing. Her second is you must set clear and tangible goals. And by doing so, you have to stay conscious. You don't get to go unconscious anymore. Third, you must forgive everyone all the time, especially yourself. And fourth, you must seek, discover, and follow your divine purpose. So that's her recipe for prosperity. And when you are aligned with your divine purpose, then you bring passion to all that you do. So all of this is leading up to the flow, this ever-present flow of prosperity, because you see, prosperity is not a stagnant idea. It's fluid and it's flowing. And here at Speakeasy, we have a course called Keys to the Kingdom, and we dive deep into the nature of this flow. It's an advanced course on prosperity consciousness that I facilitate with Maureen. So we're going to move now beyond this sense of personal prosperity into what's called collaborative prosperity. The Soul of Money is a book by Lynn Twist. And she starts out writing about scarcity and the lie of scarcity. And she goes on to talk about sufficiency. Sufficiency is the idea that when you let go of trying to get more of what you don't really need, it frees up oceans of energy to make a difference with what you have. And when you make a difference with what you have, it expands. So when you stop focusing on stuff and you remember you already have enough, you get more. It's like the story of the loaves and fishes. She goes on to state that collaboration creates, or actually is, prosperity. There are no haves and have-nots. We all are halves. Our assets are just diverse. And in the alchemy of collaboration, we become equal partners. We experience wholeness and sufficiency for everyone. Collaboration and reciprocity are natural, and yet in the world we inhabit, competition and the fear of scarcity often block us from seeing these ways of being with one another. If you're in a you or me world, reciprocity and collaboration don't really fit. In a you and me world, it's full of collaborators, partners, sharing, and reciprocity. And in that world, our resources are not only enough, they are infinite. So when we bring the practice of collaboration and reciprocity into the conscious view in everyday life, a kind of alchemy and prosperity awaits discovery all around us. It's around every corner. It's all about the willingness to remain open and available, to remember our oneness, even when conditions would dictate otherwise. So we had our own version of this living demonstration of collaborative prosperity for this service today. You see, last Sunday, we realized we didn't have a musician for today, and we reached out to many musicians with no luck. We got a lot of no's, and it could have been discouraging. But we got to put this in practice and remember the truth beyond the conditions, staying open and available to the limitless nature of a prosperity mindset and affirming the perfect musician is already here. I am lavishly sourced and supplied, and so is everyone in the Speakeasy community. And then Friday afternoon, I got an email from Nina with a new song that she had released, and I listened to it and I said, oh, wow, it would be awesome if she could come and be here with us today. And so I emailed her, asking her, and after a short conversation, we got clear there was alignment that honored her and all of us here, and we all get the benefit and the blessing of her amazing music, and we have our musician. Now, you see, she was already here. But it was the mindset that remained open and available that allowed us to make the connection. This is the true nature of prosperity. It's around every corner. And thank you, Nina, for saying yes and being a living demonstration of these principles with all of us today. So now we can even take this idea of prosperity and expand it even further. There was a scientifically controlled study conducted by German researchers at the University of Kassel, Kassel, that shows that while the chest on an average person emits about 20 photons of light per second, someone who meditates on their heart center and sends love and light to others emits an amazing 100,000 photons per second. This is 5,000 times more than the average human being. And numerous studies have also shown that when these photons are infused with a loving and healing intent, their frequency and vibration increases to the point where they can literally change matter, heal disease, and transform negative events. Now, this is the alchemy and the prosperity that Lynn Twist talks about in The Soul of Money. It's literally God's love and light being measured quantifiably. So when I was saying, I am prosperous, I am prosperous, I am prosperous, and I began to have more love and joy as I was saying it, I was literally emitting more light. It was growing around me. In the amazing book, The Power of 8, Harnessing the Miraculous Energies of Small Groups to Heal Others, Your Life in the World, which was written by Lynn McTaggart, she shares story after story of moving past her own limiting beliefs and seeing the power of group loving intention to heal people and plants and animals of all kinds of conditions. And many were at death's door, from premature babies to those in a coma or ICU, and having through these groups what seemed like a miraculous healing. So this is available to all of us. This is actually normal. This is actually who we are here to be. So staying focused on love in your heart, it's no small thing. The heart not only loves, it feels, it thinks, it remembers, it communicates with others. This is the prosperous heart. It stores information, and it continually, with each beat, pulses this information through the body. It's far more than what modern science would have us believe. It pumps this cellular symphony. It's the very essence of our being. It is a magnetic and radiating vortex, and it is a true source of human power. Today's lesson in A Course in Miracles is this holy instant is salvation come. This is the moment when all is forgiven and we remember who we are. It's living bliss. This is where our true power is. It's where we get to mother each other. So I'm inviting you here in this community and in every area of your life to first take responsibility for your own consciousness and remember the truth. And then support each other in remembering the truth. I mean, this is the holy instant to keep your heart open and loving, regardless of the conditions. And when you do see someone that gets triggered or hijacked by their own thinking, and how wonderful it would be to be in a different place, remember, you're that person. We are those people, to surround them with loving intention to help them remember their relationship with the infinite, to not buy into any circumstances of lack or limitation, to be in community where loving intention is how we are with each other. Not only would this make a difference for each of us in this community, but the light emitted from this kind of community impacts the world. I mean, this is who we are. This is who we're all here to be. This is our true identity. If you remember last week, I talked about mycelium, which is the internet of the forest, the fungal network in the forest. Well, it's sending messages and communicating. And I'm asking you today, what message are you sending out into the world? And I'm inviting you to say, I love you. I love you. I love you, and you, and you, and you, and to fill your heart with loving intention, and to say, I am prosperous, and you are prosperous, and we are prosperous. The possibilities are truly infinite. This is the nature of true prosperity. And yes, we are all prosperous. I love you.
Thank you, Beth Gordon. That was amazing. We're going to hear from Nina Grae again.
Thank you so much, Beth. I'm still blown away about this 5,000 times emitting of the light, the photons, and that kind of weaves into the song that I'm going to share about being the light and letting it shine. What can I control? What can I let go? Do I really need? What can I release? 'Cause I've been running in circles. I'm ready to break free. 'Cause the way it's always been ain't how it's gonna be. No, 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 no. I'm painting new pictures and I'm adjusting my speed. Yeah, I'm finding more reasons to be grateful for this life I lead. I'm planting new songs and I'm planting new seeds. Yeah, no longer blocking all these blessings, manifest and let them rain down on me. Yeah, 'cause this life is long and it's so short at the same time. And before I'm dead and gone, I made a promise, God, I'm gonna let this light shine, light shine, light shine. Oh, na 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 na. Oh, na 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 na. Oh, na 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 na. Oh, na 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 na. Oh, na 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 na. Oh, na 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 na. Oh, na 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 na. Oh, na na na. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. And this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine on. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Okay, so now's the time for the conversation. This is where we get to speak easily about what Beth so generously shared with us.
Yeah, if anybody wants to share on what makes them feel prosperous.
I'll kick it off, Beth. I got to tell you a story that happened, was just really incredible. I took 7 keys of the key. Actually, what happened was Joni bartered with me for some musical instruments. I had a song bowl and I gave it away to a friend of mine. And this is what happens when you give something to someone. This is what my mom taught me. You give something away, it returns to you tenfold. And Joni called me and said, I have 10 song bowls for you. And I was like, I just gave away my song bowl to Jody Murphy because I knew she loved it and I didn't have a proper birthday gift. And I was like, take my song bowl. I know that you love it. Well, the 10 song bowls come back to me with 2 gongs and about 10 drums and all of this other stuff. And I'm like, I don't even know that I want all of this stuff, but I knew I was supposed to receive it because the thing is give and receive. So the song bowls, the gongs, I went down, I picked them up, and I also got a box of books from Reverend Patty, who was getting rid of these things. They were her life partner's life's work, and she had passed on. So Reverend Patty was kind of gifting them to me. And in the box, I found a program called 7 Keys of the Kingdom. And at the same time, Beth and I were looking for a prosperity program to offer at our community. So I said, what about this? I called the guy who ran the program. He said, yeah, I know you. I've seen you talk at Bodhi. And I was like, wow, that's a synchronicity. And he's like, we would love for you to offer this at Speakeasy. We offer it at Speakeasy. Lisa Natoli came. She like gave this huge pitch. Last year, we had $13,000 in our bank account. This year, we have $30,000 in our bank account because of that program, because of our willingness to apply this principle. But that's just what it did for Speakeasy. So I'm teaching this class with Beth, and I'm thinking, I feel prosperous. I'm healed in regards to my finances. I'm grateful for that because of the practices of Edwin Gaines and one extra little practice that I added along the way, which was show up to work as if you're being paid $1 million. So I'm feeling really good about my prosperity, but I was thinking like, hey, I'm teaching this class and I'm doing all the right things. Like, shouldn't I get a windfall? And so I said, you know what, God, I'm going to be open to creative windfalls as well as otherwise, because when Beth says, how do you feel prosperous? It's not money for me. I don't really care about money, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, but I care about creative expression. Like that's what makes me jump out of bed in the morning, to be fully creatively expressed and seen and heard and appreciated for that creative expression. That's what does it for me. That's what makes me feel really rich. So I said, I'll be open to creative expressions. And I had this idea for a TV show. And I got the nudge to call my friend, who's a television director, and pitch her the idea. Now, I've been out of the business for 10 years. I was like, this doesn't feel right. But I also was willing to take the risk because of this program. So in May, I called my friend. I said, hey, I got an idea that would you be open to hearing a pitch? I really felt like a cat visiting the queen. Like, I really felt like this is ridiculous that I'm asking this woman who works all the time in TV. Weirdly enough, she texted me back and she said, yeah, I'd love to hear it. Hit me up after May 10th. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. I went back to my computer. I'm like, I better get this pitch ready. I realized I hadn't written a word of it. I was like, oh my God, I better sit down and write this thing out. So I sit down, I write it up, I send it to her. She goes, this is really good. I want to hear more. So I send her more. And she says to me, I want to be attached to this as a director. I was like, what? This doesn't mean anything. You know, these kind of things are kind of like winning the lottery, but it doesn't matter because I feel rich when I'm creatively expressed. So that's already answered. Like, this is my joy. So I write up the script to her, and 2 weeks ago, I hand her the script. And I was like, you know, doing a lot of other things along the way while writing the script. And I thought, well, I hope this is, you know, good. And she sent me a text back just recently saying, I really love what you've done here. And this, you know, we still have some work to do on it. And it doesn't matter where it's going to go. What is happening is that I'm joyfully creating with my friend. I'm joyfully creating with, that makes me feel rich. And if it's supposed to happen, if it's for the highest good of all of the doors will continue to open. And there's no limit on my joy and my prosperity. And that all came from working this. Actually, it all came from me giving away a song bowl, if I'm honest. I didn't get stingy with my meager little song bowl. I had one. I bought it for myself for my birthday a couple of years ago. And I definitely wanted to hold on to it. But my friend Jody loved it more than I loved it. And the Holy Spirit was like, give this to her. It came from that, to be honest with you. So if it can happen to me and for me, if I can live in this flush flow of prosperity, it can happen for anyone if we're willing to take a few risks. And that's what your talk inspired me to say, Beth.
I love that, Maureen. And the whole idea of work that's so much fun, it feels like play. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, that's something that I called in for myself. And all the work that Maureen and I do together, I mean, we laugh and it's so much fun. It feels like play. And we do a lot of work together. I mean, we facilitate the whole Maiden Voyage program, and there's so much here at Speakeasy. And honestly, it really is playful and it feels very prosperous. And, you know, I would invite anyone here that has anything to share on how they feel prosperous, or even any of their stories from last spring, anybody that took Keys to the Kingdom, how they have experienced prosperity since then. I see there's a couple hands up. There's Jeannie Laporte and then Joni. So Jeannie, you want to go ahead?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Quite inspirational, Beth. I really appreciate that. And it just reminded me, well, one of the ways I feel prosperous is when I give. And, the Course says to give and receive are one in truth. So, and one of the ways I do that is by tithing. I know it's very cliche about, giving to where you're fed, but it is so, so true. I know the Course also says, that to have all, give all to all. And Maureen's story really, really spoke to that, nothing can be increased except through sharing. And I just, I really do want to pitch tithing because it really has changed my life, to give where I am spiritually fed, and I am fed at Speakeasy all the time. And I've been fed other places, but I realized in the past that some of those places were feeding me leftovers. And as Maureen says, it's fresh baked bread. And I feel like Maureen and you and everybody else who's attached to Speakeasy are always baking, and I'm always tasting. So I just say thank you, and I really do hope that if people are inclined to give of themselves, because when you give, as proven by Maureen, it comes back to you tenfold. And yes, so I hope that you everyone gets fed through you. I know there's lots of paths, but this one is so near and dear to my heart that I am becoming a mother as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeannie. I love what you just shared. And it reminds me of a time many years ago where I brought literally my whole kitchen over to Maureen's house and we were baking together. We baked.
She brought everything because I had nothing. I don't do baking. And she showed up with every freaking cookie cutter and sprinkle and aprons for both of us. I was like, what is this, a cooking show? It was awesome.
So fun. Oh, thank you for that, Jeannie. Joni, did you have something you wanted to share?
Sure. I just wanted to say that when I feel prosperous and limitless nature, it isn't helping. I got a chance to help Patty sell her house and transition from Michigan and her old job down to her new in the South. And there was many benefits. But what I most felt was when I'm included, I'm seen, I'm able to share my talents, and in that gratitude, the pouring of love that comes to me through Speakeasy and through the Zoom, even into the daily life I have, I'm very, very prosperous. So thank you.
Thank you, Joni. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Well,
Sherry has her hand up.
Sherry, okay.
I just wanted to share a couple of things. One is I took the keys to the kingdom, the 7 keys to the kingdom, and there was so much in there that was new, refreshing, and worth sharing. It was a well-spent 7 weeks and beyond, because we ended up going beyond. So it's well worth having. I love what Maureen said about being joyfully creative, because I think that's how we get stymied in life with making good things happen, is we're not asking with joyful intention. So I think joyfully creating is a good way to put it. And Beth, your talk was magnificent. I love the limitless. It's believing that you're limitless. And if you don't believe that you're limitless, it's because you don't believe that God is your source. I mean, it is really just that plain. I was at a birthday lunch with a friend yesterday who is recently divorced. She's worried about, getting older, not having a home, blah, 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 blah. But she was constantly thinking about only what she can provide from her bank account, not at any point going to what can God provide me as I go on this way and on this journey to owning a home in a couple of years and being secure. And she kept looking at her bank account. I'm never going to have enough. I'll never be able to afford. Houses are going up. And so I had to remind her that someone could give you a house. You could run into someone who is divorcing and they just want to be rid of a house. I mean, you never know how you can be sourced if you're not depending on yourself. And that's the limitless is so important. And if you're not thinking limitless, then you're looking at your job and other things as being the source. And that is not your source. And by the way, God is the source of your job. But go to source, go to God, and you will live a limitless life to where I don't think anything, I never see anything as having limits because God is the source. So there's no limit. So that's all. Thank you again, Beth.
Thank you, Sherry. And I love that you were putting into practice exactly what I was sharing in the message today. Like if somebody has forgotten, just help them remember, help them connect to their limitless nature. Like that's a perfect example of that. So thank you for being a living, walking demonstration.
What I loved about Sherry also is that during the 7 weeks of the class, she let it be known that she's a prosperity teacher. And we were like, okay. So we did go beyond, and she stepped in for us. And, an idea shared is strengthened. And I know that prosperity is being seen. I know, I won't speak for you, Sherry, but I know you shared in community that like you were not always comfortable being visible. And, so that can be a really prosperous stance, is to be seen. And I just recognize that in you and for you, and I appreciate it.
I'm going to share one more really quick story. I have to show you how you live in a limitless world, how you can live in a limitless world. I have never been a realtor, never opened a book about realty, but I decided just on my own out of the blue that I was going to teach a class where the realtors go in Texas, in Austin, every year to get their CEs or whatever. So I put in a proposal on teaching them how to use prosperity and how to use gratitude to sell more houses. And the person that, when I showed up, I couldn't believe they accepted it, but they did. Of course, I could believe it because I put it in. But when I showed up, the lady who I signed in for said, "What is your class about?" And she says, "I don't think anybody's going to want to take that." Well, I had like 40 people in every class that wanted to know how to sell more houses by using gratitude and prosperity. And they had never had something there that was outside of whatever it is that realtors learned, by some book. So they were amazed, that someone could come in and talk about gratitude. So never put a limit on yourself. You can do anything, just do it. Amen. And watch what happens.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Well,
I have something to say.
Go ahead, Reverend Celeste.
And this isn't any testimony or anything. This is just, I'm looking at some of the people in this room who I saw a year ago or 6 months ago coming alive and shining. And I am just saying good mothering. That's it.
Oh, thank you, Reverend Celeste. From you, that means so much to me. I so appreciate it. We are a community that mothers each other. Care is our currency. Like that's the ultimate gold, is caring for each other. That's an unusual thing to value. And as we value it, we grow. Because that's what happens when you care for a garden, it grows. You try throwing some money at a garden, it doesn't accept it.
Well, shall we hear one more song from our amazing musician today.
Yes. In the spirit of joyful creation, this is a song called We Are Creators. Hey, Mr. Sculptor. Hey, Mr. Builder. When it all comes together, will it make the people better? Hey, Mr. Businessman, Mrs. Shareholder, did you write your 5-year plan for New World Order? Well, we're here to wake you up. No, we won't fall prey to old lies. We've been there before. We knew we had the power to change anything, anything and everything. Oh, the future's ours and it's so bright. It will light up every cold and frozen soul from Rome to Tokyo. Let's raise a glass and have a toast tonight. We are creators. We are the painters of our world. We are creators, and we decide what goes. Hey, Mr. President. Hey, all you teachers, did you come to make a difference? If not, then leave us, 'cause we're the generation to finish what's been started. Goodbye to the old rules mandated by the hard list. We're here to sing our song, and I hope you sing along. We've been waiting on change, and it's been a long, 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 long. We are creators. Yes, we are the painters of our world. We are creators, and we decide what goes. Love is the heart of everything. Love is who we are. Love is the heart of everything, and love is who we are. Love is the heart of everything. Love is who we are. Love is the heart of everything, and love is who we are. So let's raise our head and lift our voice. We'll hear our sound. We're gonna make some noise. Let's raise our hands and lift our voice. They're gonna hear our sound. Let's make some noise, singing yeah, yeah. We are creators. Yes, we are the painters of our world. We are creators, and we decide, yes, we decide what goes. Thank you so much.
Woo! Oh my gosh. Oh my goddess. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you, Beth Gordon, for your amazing talk. Thank you for bringing Nina to our community. Please put the links up so that we can make sure that we stay connected and buy and support this incredible musician and art. What else are you up to, Nina? Do you have anything that coming up that you want to promote?
Just released a song yesterday on Spotify and Apple Music and all of the channels. So I'm excited about that.
What's the name of it?
It's called Cards.
Cards. Okay, great. If you're on
Yeah.
Spotify, which I hope you are, get in on it and check it out and share it. And share it and share it and like it and share it and share it and like it and share it some more.
Thank you.
All I can say is it was in the cards that we were all connected. to.
Bada bing, bada bing.
Oh,
Have a wonderful Sunday. We hope to see you at our other events this week. God bless. Bye.
Love you all.
Thank you.